All right, how everybody doing today? This is the NCOA Childcare Chats. We have a special guest with us, Mr. Joel Alston from Daddy University Incorporated. I'm here with my co-host Stephanie Booker Harris, the treasurer. All right, so we're going to get right into it because we're pressed for time. So we're going to first start with Mr. Alston. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Brother Ray, I'm excited to be here. This has been a long
Yes.
time coming. My name is Joel Austin. I'm president, CEO, and co-founder of Daddy University Incorporated. We are the longest running male parenting education company in the United States, Black owned, as you can see. And we've been literally involved in supporting, addressing, educating, and educating others on the importance of the male presence, a positive male presence with our children, our youth, and around the world.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right. So now that you said that, um, let's start with the first question. So,
Yes, Matthew.
yeah, before we get into the first question, let us know a little bit of the mission of Daddy University.
Daddy University, our mission is to empower and educate everyone about the power and the presence of what males bring to the table, specifically for children, our youth, our infants. Educating them brings a better tool to us, better our services, improves that children's education, and separating some of the stereotypes between the gender and the position.
Wow,
Ex-
that's good because this month we're celebrating men in early childhood education,
Mhm.
and that's why we're having this particular childcare chat because we want to normalize being working with our youth, so we can stop the stereotyping. And so when we start thinking about men and childcare and men in early childhood education, you were the first person that came up in our conversations because you are an advocate for men being present, and we're super excited that you're on with us today. And I just wanted to just get right in and start. I want to just ask you a few questions. Just tell us about what are some of the pros and cons of men working with our youth, working with the children.
And one of the main pros, specifically in our companies and our childcare, and because we keep saying children, children, we're all about children. So children come from two people. They come from a mother and they come from a father. They do not come from women because all women don't have babies. So they come from a mother and a father. So it's specific for us to really start looking at a name change. And the name changes. We deal with dads. If I walk into your center, the first thing you should say to me is, "Hello, Dad." Because I've worked with over 10,000 men, and none of them have ever got pissed off by being called dad. But then I've also walked into childcare to pick up a son, and they treat me as sir or Mr. So and so and treat everybody else as mom. So I want to normalize us as a family of people who care about children by saying, "You just call us dad." Dad is a really, really great name, and none of us get upset. What we bring to the table is so many things because we teach differently. Fathers, for example, have this you have to finish what you start attitude. Um, they try to push and motivate to finish some of the lesson plans that we have. They try to push and motivate some of the reading tasks that we have. Fathers don't have a give up mentality. They really like to push our children to see the world. If you see a father carrying a child, most likely the child is turned around and the face of the child is facing the world. A lot of our mothers will carry the child where the face is, where their face is closest to the mother. We teach differently, and that difference improves our educational backgrounds, improves our certifications, improves our children's levels, improves our flow of traffic. They bring a great strength to our motor skills, to our language skills. And my fathers, there's something that they are 10 times better than my mother's in being silly. They hold the key to being silly, and silly with children is a great thing. They enhance the story. It could be a 3-minute story. They will enhance it. They got lightning, thunder. They play with it. Unlike my mother's, most of my fathers have no problem getting on the floor in a minute. And when I say my fathers, I mean the ones that you find uncomfortable, the ones with the tattoos, the one that our society has deemed thuggish. They have no issue with getting on the floor, playing horsey in a heartbeat, where sometimes other people don't be like, well, let me see if I vacuum that floor first, then I'll get down there. And it's not to say one is better than the other. It's to say that both of them complement our child's education. And we have to find out what he brings to the table, because each of our children have a paternal side of this child and a maternal side. And there's times when the maternal doesn't understand. And there's sometimes when the child care worker doesn't understand until you meet the paternal side. It could be the uncle, it could be so-and-so, but the uncle or the aunt will even tell you, of course, his father was a track star. So that's why you can't keep him from stop running. So what we do is we find out both sides so that we don't limit our children at all. We don't limit their play. We don't limit how they do things. So they bring a lot of fine motor skills. They help with cognitive skills, because a lot of fathers are weird. They don't talk a lot of baby language. They talk in full sentences to toddlers. And we found that to be a little funny, but at the same time, toddlers learn better. And then they do a lot of social skills. They push for play. They push for interaction, and they do rough and tumble. We used to didn't like rough and tumble in childcare. And now we find out specifically that it really helps them address their emotions. It really helps them address some of their psychological boundaries, and it really helps them open up, because you have to figure out how to get out of a situation. So I can go on and on about the pros. The cons are, a lot of the cons are what we have been told about, specifically our Black and brown fathers. But the truth is, we are around, we hear, and we are equal parents.
Wow. Just to hear from your perspective, and just when you was talking, I start visualizing all the men that are in my life or I see interact with their children. And just to think about it, because I didn't look at it from that perspective, that when they act silly, it's a different type of laugh. The children laugh so hard, because I was thinking about my grandson the other day, and I saw my son on the floor rolling around the floor with his son, and my grandson was laughing so hard. And when you said that, it was like, he's absolutely right, because women, we think about the safety. We don't want you to get hurt. We want to babyfy you. We want to put a band-aid on it. But the fathers, we're just having fun. You're just being a kid. We're just carefree. And you just said it all in a nutshell, because that's exactly the power that men bring when it comes down to children. If you just think about it in your own life, just from a personal perspective, it's like, wow, that is absolutely right. Because I look at the children in my child care center, they're the same way with our men that walk around. When the men come in the room, they always laughing, they're real giddy, and they take them very serious. So just looking at it from that perspective, it's like, wow, you're absolutely right.
If you were
men role are very important when it comes down to our youth and our children, and we really have to normalize them being present. And the work that you're doing is amazing.
The minority, and first of all, thank you. We have to realize that we do have issues with specifically Black and brown men, but that is absolutely positively the minority. There are some that aren't around. There are some that do this. There are some that do that, but that's not the majority of our clients. The majority of our clients are in some sort of relationship. Let's be serious. Situationship. I don't know what they want to call it. They baby mama ship. We have this situation but we're connected. But what a lot of times in childcare, we're monopolized by the learning and don't see the power of learning with play. We are so focused on the fact that we want our kids to be better, but sometimes we believe that the only person that can do that is the one that birthed it. But all of us as men, we realize that we hold the seeds to life. And I'm just going to leave that there. So we know where these children come from as well. So, but we also been given power. We change. I don't use the word men and males a lot. I work with fathers, and they're totally different. They're totally different than men. They are silly. They are playful. They understand how to get this work done. They want things. I have three boys, and if the mother takes them to the park, you're right. And they say I want to climb a tree. Their mother will say, "Don't climb too far. Don't climb up too high." There's safety and there's security in that, and that's a good thing. On the other hand, when they go with me, my first thing is show me how far you can climb. Show me how far you can go. And there are people in childcare that will say that's wrong, but the reality is both of us are right. I want you to find a safe job. I want you to work at McDonald's. That's fine. But my thing is, I don't want you to be comfortable with French fries. I want you to move the burgers. I want you to move up to assistant manager. I want you to show me how far you can go. I want you to own this place and then have your own franchise. I need to keep pushing these children to see how far you can go. And that's one of the powers we bring. So if you don't have men working in your center, you are too afraid to advance. And if you believe in 2023 that all the girls' hair is being done by their mother, you are old school. You are wrong. We held a class on how to do your daughter's hair, and 120 guys showed up. There are a lot more doing a lot more than what they even say they're doing, because it's still been so feminized by taking care of your children. But when they get home, it is them that is picking up. We know who's outside picking up. We know these little girls are being picked up in the best car possible, because that's my boo. Like we see it. We know what this love looks like, but we haven't talked about the power. So, for example, my mothers have an incredible power. They have the ability to give every vitamin that a baby needs from their bodies. It is a superpower. They have the ability to produce every single vitamin the body needs to grow. But my dads also have a superpower, and their superpower is called an Adam's apple. And because of this Adam's apple, my body kind of vibrates as I talk. But because of that, children learn verbs and adjectives, and they learn A-E-I-O-U. They can hear it better. And if men read to them more, they learn all this verbiage at an earlier age, and it can almost skip 1 to 2 reading levels. So whoever is in reading to your kids, you need to invite the guy that's across the street waiting to pick them up and say, we are doing reading and we need you in here to increase our children's reading levels. And if you don't know about this power, you need to learn about this tool that you got sitting across the street, not doing anything.
Wow. You know, just thinking about, what you said about the men picking up the children, dropping them off. If you do we did a survey in my program about the different families, the dynamics of families. And in the survey, we noticed that from in the last 3 years, the numbers has increased with single male families. It's more single men now than it is women, because men are stepping in and taking care of their children because the moms just give up. And just doing that study in our program, it had us to change the dynamics and say, hey, it's time to bring in more men in the center, because we have more men showing up. We have more men at the parent conferences and at the parent meetings than we've ever had before. And just thinking about the industry changing in such a way. My next question to you is, have you ever encountered any misconceptions or resistance from, parents or colleagues regarding men working in the early childhood realm, and how did you address those issues? Because I see now we have men at our door, and when the women see them, they don't want to drop the kids off sometimes. So how do you address that?
It is so. This is all I can say is yes, I have. I can't curse like I want to. Yes, I have. Yes, we do. It is the most hypocritical thing in the world because when we put men in the center, some people don't want their daughters around them. On the other hand, when our daughters are on a field trip, we like to have men around to make sure they're protected. It can be so hypocritical and so oxymoronic. You see them as protection, and then sometimes you see them as a threat. And it is hard for us to swallow something like that. It is very hard for Black and brown men to swallow segregation and racism from Black and brown women. It is a very hard, uncomfortable pill. And it is, part of our history to try to change that now. And you have to fight for me. You have to say, he's the best we have here. If you don't want to bring your child here, then you don't bring your child here. But we believe that fathers can take care of kids just as much as mothers, and you have to fight for us, and we have to fight for change. Just like we fought to make sure that, hidden figures that oh my God, that a Black woman can be vice president. We voted for her, so we need you to vote for us. And make sure well, guess what? You liked him when he was guarding the kids walking up and down the street in the hood. We didn't have any problem with that. So invite the fathers in, invite the most thuggish of them. They're not thugs. They're not harmful. They're dads. Like dads add to this flavor. They add to the room. My fathers have this push. It can be very uncomfortable for my mom sometimes. This push of you can do it, you can get it done, and this coaching about them that helps children go from diapers to potty trained in days. If you just taught them how, if you just gave them the information, they have this push on increasing levels in art and drawing. They'll put their games down to do arts and crafts if you tell them how this will affect and benefit their kids. So yes, there is racism, biasness, and implicit biasness because of people's personal experience with their one or two. But we deal with the hundreds and the thousands. And your center has to say, this is our community. They are part of our family. And we're not getting rid of our family. And we are not, especially after Juneteenth, going to let people separate us again.
Excellent, excellent. I have another question for you. In your opinion, what are some effective strategies for recruiting and retaining men staff members in this industry?
Outside across the street, that drop off for our centers is amazing. That pickup for our centers is amazing. And I unfortunately have to say, so many of our childcare workers do not come across the street or do not come outside and say hello. So many do not just say hello, but say, we can use your help around here. Would you like to volunteer? We don't incorporate them. We look at them and say, their pants may be sagging or they have a tattoo, but we don't incorporate them. We don't engage them. We engage them by saying, hey, Dad, sometimes, hey, she's such and such, but then we don't get involved. We get involved on men stuff. And telling men to come and grill is like saying, hey, women, we need you to vacuum. It's a little emasculating. It's a little downing. I'd rather you say, come read, come educate, because you're that smart. So they are picking up. There are probably 20 men picking up and another 20 dropping off every day. And for you to say, I can't find any guys to work in my center, I think you're a liar, or I think you have not worked hard enough, or I think you have not tried. You can't find two to even sit on your board. I find that harsh, and I find that your center may be in trouble because of it.
Wow.
Well, you said outside across the street.
Right.
It's
Because they just got finished.
unconditional It's unconventional way of recruiting, right? Because just hearing your way of trying to get more men involved, it's just basically saying our traditional way of hiring, we're not going to be able to do that anymore. We're going to have to go out and reach the people.
Mhm.
And thinking about that is in your marketing message, because I always go back to when you go by all these chapter centers and they have these signs outside and they say now hiring, now hiring. And men are not going to just walk up to
Mhm.
a sign that says now hiring. We have to go out and touch them. We got to go out and reach them. So if you're on this call today, you're going to watch the replay, because I know a lot of our friends will watch the replay later. He just gave you a golden nugget. A golden nugget is you have to get outside the four walls of your child care center and go out in the community and reach the men and ask them to come in and ask them to volunteer. You have to show them that your program is welcoming. You're welcoming men in and you're open to it. And we can't get them if we're not open to it. You said a whole mouthful
I think
because
it's
you
easier
said
than
a mouthful.
it's easier than we think. I think step one is hello, how are you? And step two is your son this or your daughter this or so and so. And then step three, we have a secret weapon. We have their kids. We have a secret weapon. So our first number three is there a day during this week you can come and volunteer for an hour and a half? They will have no idea that we're asking them to volunteer, but we're really doing marketing research. We are really surveying our next employee. And then we try to get them to come for 2 hours. And then we try to get them for 3 hours. And once you in my center for 3 hours, we got you.
Contagious.
You in love,
Oh, I
right?
like
But
it.
now we just talking about what day can you come in and work? Like which you might as well, you hear so much with the kids, you might as well we have an in. We have an in. You want to be here. First of all, you're coming in the morning and you're coming to the event and you're coming to pick up. We can slide you right in. And then during that volunteer time, we can survey them and we can, ask questions and we can find out who would be a best fit for us. We have an in.
Wow.
Wow.
There's so many nuggets dropped right there, y'all.
I hope y'all wrote them down. He gave you
Let's,
step by step,
that
play by
is
play is
that is a
exactly
great
how to.
recruiting tool you just said just now. So that's a heck of a way to screen.
And
Wow.
it's crazy because I have fathers who have custody, because we have custody in our communities and they have custody on the weekends, but they find out that if they just get a job at the center, they get to see their kids every day. It's a win-win for all of us, and they get to do what they do naturally, which is guard, which is security, keep safe, and push and promote and read books. It's a beautiful job.
Wow. Do you have any success stories of men working in early childhood that you want to share?
Yeah, there's too many. We don't have that much time. So I train childcare centers in engaging, involving, and then the inclusion of males. Inclusion is a tough one. It means it means that male are now part of your policy and procedures. Males are on your board. Males are a part of your organization. A lot of our child care centers have not gotten to inclusion, but one day we will. The success stories come when we get the first one in. And so I'm talking about Black and Brown communities. What will normally happen is the first one will come in, and some of the children who do not have a positive male presence end up clinging. And then the others will cling. They'll also find out that I don't think they're able to just read a story. I think they are incapable of just reading a story without adding the lightning and the thunder and the flying around and all the extravagance. And they're so dramatic when they just read a story. Most of them have no issue dressing up in costume because they've been wanting to dress up in costume for a long time. Half of them got a cape in their car. They will fly around the room. So the next thing you know, they bring about this light, and this one guy brought this light so much that a lot of the inner kids have not seen that. The second one was hired, the third one was hired to work with him, and then they started going to other different types of groups. So I have so many stories of just getting that one in, and then the second one and the third one, and then actually listening to them when they have an idea. Actually listening to them when they say, well, we should do this with the kids. And sometimes our moms have thought that's too dangerous to climb the tree, or dig in the sandbox. But the reality is, a lot of times the kids need to be pushed so that first grade is not an issue for them, and first grade is not scary for them. So some of that advancement needs to have from 0 to 5.
Wow.
Yeah, I have too many positive stories.
But those are the stories that will change the trajectory of men working in the industry, because the stories that we hear on the news and the stories that we hear publicly are the not so good stories. The stories that are not told publicly are the stories that you're telling today. And as the National Child Care Owners Association, we want to highlight those stories because that's a part of our mission. Our mission is to help change the course of the child care industry. And we know that one of those biggest change is more men showing up, more men working in the industry, because men matter in early childhood education, and not just early childhood education, in our youth lives, because it impacts the next generation. And so just being here today, you have really blessed my soul. And I know that everybody that's listening, that's going to watch the replay, they're going to be blessed, because this conversation was needed. Because I hear a lot of my child care colleagues say they want men, but they don't know how to even begin.
So you want men, but you cannot treat men like white men used to treat black women. You cannot have your implicit bias based on us. You cannot tell us, I guess you want to just play football. You can't do that. Most times we are not invited. The first step is the invitation. We rarely get an invitation. Sometimes there's a breakfast with dad or donuts with dads, but we have it in June once a year. It's kind of like Black History Month. Why don't we celebrate these guys? We should have a breakfast every month. You get to know people, you get to understand people. Why don't you like me 11 months out of the year? You use me for that 12 months to show X, Y, and Z. You have to invite me. You'd be surprised how much I'll come for coffee, because the reality is I'm not working right now anyway. So I just drop off and pick up. So I come for coffee, come for this, invite me in, tell me about the center, tell me what's going on, have these classes for me, because everybody trusts the center, because you have the most precious thing in the world to me in your center. Invite me in and don't feel uncomfortable with me. And I can tell when you're uncomfortable, or find the one woman that's in there that's not uncomfortable around a bunch of guys. Because I can feel when you're uncomfortable. You make me feel uncomfortable when you keep calling me by my first or last name instead of dad, or you make me feel uncomfortable when you ask me these odd questions like, are all these kids yours? And like you make me feel uncomfortable asking me, do I have a job? I'm not sure what that has to do with loving my daughter. I have no idea what that has to do with how I care for my son. So you didn't ask me, did I do my daughter's hair? So first of all, invite me like you want me there, like you would like to have me there. And then I'll feel comfortable, and then we can open up and talk.
Wow.
Powerful.
That's good. It's powerful. When you was talking, you dropped so many nuggets and gave so many ideas. My mind was racing, because my program is already open to men, and Ray program is open to men. We advocate for men in our schools, but you gave me another perspective, right? Of adding, inviting them in more, because I'm guilty of not inviting them in more. So I'm going to incorporate more in my programs that men will come in more and have, because I don't do coffee. I don't like coffee, but we're going to bring them in to read some books and arts and craft and more. We're going to do it more. We do it, but not enough. Not enough. You just help me. I don't know about y'all, because I like to be transparent. I need to do more myself. What about you, Ray?
I mean, I like it. I like that point that he brought up with try and verify. That's the way I'm thinking of it, where you ask the dad, hey, why don't you come in and volunteer for like an hour or two? And then while they're volunteering, you're like doing like on the job training, you're screening them. So you're trying them and verifying them at the same time. Like that's the biggest nugget I took from that. So I'm gonna definitely take that with me.
Wow. This has been great dialogue when it comes down to incorporated men. I know that this time is just not enough. We're going to have to definitely do something bigger, on a bigger stage together, because this is our language. We decided to break some of the Childcare chats up, but we have our board actually have 3 men. We have 3 men that sit on our board. And I would love for them to get an opportunity to meet you and all us do some stuff together, because the National Childcare Owners Association, I don't know if you know that it was started by a male. It was a male vision, which is Mr. Ray Maxwell. The National Childcare Owners Association was his brainchild. This is his baby. This whole thing being birthed was his idea. He brought the idea to a group of his childcare colleagues, and we all joined his mission in helping early childhood educators, owners, because we wanted to help more owners. So just thinking about, in the spirit of men, this whole association was started by a man. And I'm excited. But before we go, because our time is winding down, before we go, is there any advice that you would give an owner when it comes down to, just welcoming men, inviting them in, and just, adding them, making them a part of their program? Because we know that this is not normalized, and we want to normalize men in childcare.
My message to them all would be: separate gender from position. Separate your gender from your position. My gender is male. My gender is whatever's on the birth certificate, but that is not my current position. My current position is dad. My current position is father. My current position is that I biologically help bring a child into this world. And that's all that matters to me now. All that men stuff is second to my son or daughter that you're in care of. Separate that and look at me in a different way and say, and present it to me: Dad, we need you for this. Dad, we need you for that. Dad, your presence is amazing here. And compliment me on the little things I do. And whatever I don't do, and if I don't do it right, it's because someone in childcare that is childcare educated did not teach me. So it is part of our job to help out. And you say that Ray brought this around, a Black man. I got to believe that, because a woman brought about Father's Day. So we've been working together, complimenting each other for a long time. So separate, get into your mind, get into your thoughts, and be diligent about separating gender from position. And my position as dad is the only position. It covers everything. It's the reason why I'm so upset, because I don't understand. I get angry because something's going on with my daughter. And your job is to say, Dad, calm down. We're going to take care of this, Dad. We're going to take care of that. It's my position now. I'm not some guy. I'm somebody's father.
Wow. Gender from position. That's a whole class in itself. That's so good. That is so good. I don't know about you guys, because I know y'all gonna watch this and you gonna have y'all pen and paper. Y'all gonna be writing down some nuggets. But I want to just tell you, thank you so much for joining us today in this month, Men in Childcare, because we always sit back and we want to collaborate and do things with the men, because again, I told you Ray was the founder, and so he's really big on men showing up in early childhood education. And so I'm glad you were able to join us and be a part of today's session, and I look forward to talking to you again and doing something bigger. Again, I want to just thank you and just say thank you. This has been amazing. And for those of you who y'all watch the replay, I hope to see you guys. Put replay in the chat if you're watching a replay. Share with your friends, share with your family, and especially all of your childcare providers that are on. I want you guys to watch this and share it, because this is one of the things that we're lacking in early childhood education, is being able to welcome men into childcare so we can further the mission of childcare. Because I always talk about the state of childcare. This is one of the major things that will affect the state of childcare if we don't welcome enough men into the industry so we can impact the next generation, because we have to let men know that it's okay to work with children. It's okay. Absolutely. Oh my God, today has been great. It's been great. Joel, you have anything else before we close out?
No, just follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter. We'll let you know all the events we're doing, all the events that you're invited to. We'll let you know when our next training is. Follow us. We're not hard to find. We're Daddy University Incorporated. And I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You guys have a good day, and we'll see you around in these childcare streets.